Hello lovelies, and thank you so much for joining me for another indie deck video. Now I've just uploaded my only 10 indie decks, and that video was so hard to do because there were so many decks that could have been on that only 10 list, and I just found it incredibly difficult. So I've come back up to my room. There are still indie decks everywhere, and I just can't put them away without sharing them. And I just thought it would be so much fun just to sit and have a little flick through some beautiful decks. So this is more indie decks. Theia, you inspired this. So here we go. Here are some more indie decks that I love. I thought I would start with this one because this was the first indie tarot that I ever bought myself. The Weaver's Oracle was the first indie oracle. In that same year, I think I bought this one for my birthday, and I bought the Weaver's for myself for Christmas. And to be honest, I think this indie tarot, it was almost like putting a stake in the ground, claiming that I was worth an indie tarot deck, worth spending that sort of money on. My history when it comes to birthdays and Christmases is having it used as a sort of weaponized power day against me to show me that I'm not important, to exclude me from presents, to, well, let's just say one year I got wrapped up as my main Christmas present a pile of my then partner's nan's old pants that she was throwing out. And if I just leave it at that, then that really kind of sums up the state of the gift buying over my lifetime. So now what do? Now I buy myself gifts, I buy myself decks, I buy myself dolls. I still search for bargains. I still don't absolutely go mad when it comes to cost. That is very inbuilt in me and circumstances. And I remember when I first got into tarot and oracle, I just assumed that I would never ever own an indie deck ever, because I could justify, say, £8 on a second-hand mass market. I couldn't justify to myself like £40 for a brand new indie deck. However, this deck changed that. I loved this deck so much when I first saw it that it would not leave my mind, and by the end of my first year working with tarot and oracle and all the healing that that first year brought about due to working with decks, I decided that I was going to put my stake in the ground and actually say and declare to the universe that I am worth spending money on, and real money, because these indie decks are not cheap. And having seen friends go through the process of costing up printing, I can see why they're not cheap. They can't be cheap. And so I saved up and I bought this for my birthday and it's really special because of that. So this is the Luminous Void Tarot. This is the smaller version. It has these incredible backs, and it is my declaration of my own importance in a world that spent a long time trying to convince me that I was not important and that I was nothing, in fact. So this deck is very symbolic, and I love it for that. And yet still it didn't make it into my only 10, so you can see how I struggled with my only 10 video. Now this next one is the Raincoast Pocket Tarot by Christoph James. I actually won this in a Facebook giveaway. Christoph had said he had a deck to give away. The first person to guess the number that was written on it, what number edition it was, would win the deck. And I just guessed my age. I think I was 51 at the time. Was I 51 or possibly 52? I'm just seeing if the number card is in there. It should be in here still. And I guessed that, and I got it right, and I won the deck. I couldn't believe it. So I think this might even have been my second indie tarot that I received. I love it because for me, I use this with its own language. The cards for me spoke very autobiographically of some of the events of my life. Some of the symbols took on different meaning. So although it does still hold its more traditional tarot meaning, it also has a whole nother language layered on top of it. So it's really special for that, and I love it. I love in particular the Pentacles suit because it is so layered and so intense with the details, especially in, look, you can see here, especially in the Pentacles. Christoph's artwork, I think, is just so wonderful. All of these signed cards, I've just left them all in, and I love it. So this is the pocket version of the Raincoast Pocket Tarot, and there it is. Look, 51. I was indeed 51. I am now nearly 55, so it's been with me a while. I absolutely love it. This was a giveaway win, and it's just really special. Another deck that I was mortified I couldn't include in my 10 was this one, the Gentle Tarot, which I absolutely adore. This deck was sent to me in a big birthday and Christmas box by my gorgeous friend Shannon in America. She put together the biggest box you've ever seen, which I would have filmed me opening, but it had loads of presents for the kids as well. They didn't particularly want to be filmed opening it, and also when I opened the box and realised how much stuff was in there, I nearly passed out. The kids had to run and grab a chair for me and help me into a chair. That is how big the shock was of receiving something so special. Oh my gosh, and I could cry again even talking about the memory. It was amazing. It was a big painted box full of gifts. The Reclaim Oracle was in there, which made it into my 10 decks, and this Gentle Tarot was also in there. Now this tarot, I come to this when I really feel like I can't take any harshness. And there was a stage, oh my gosh, about a year ago, where something happened, and I actually felt so vulnerable and so in pieces. I just felt like even the tiny rock of a boat would make me sink. And for a while, this is the deck that I used exclusively to get through that, along with my pairing of the Zombie Tarot and the Chicoli Tarot. But this deck was like, it was like a life raft in stormy waters. And although this deck, although it's called the Gentle Tarot, it can take you to dark places. At the time, this was the deck that for me felt like a gentle hug, and it did become my hug deck. And when I wanted to turn to tarot but was scared to, because I knew how vulnerable I felt, this deck stepped in those times. This is definitely my hug deck. So you can see again, this broke my heart not to include it in my 10 decks. It's just so special. So that is the Gentle Tarot by Mari in the Sky. I just love it. Also in that big box from Shannon was this deck, the Healing Waves Tarot, which is completely out of print. It's by Naran Juna Hasiri. I'm so sorry, I bet I've just butchered that. And she said when she made this deck that she would not be ever doing another reprint. It was a one and done deal. I loved it, but you know, an indie deck one and done deal, it was something that I couldn't do at the time. And then Shannon put it in the box that came to me, hence the fact that I did nearly pass out when I literally nearly pass out when I opened the box. I couldn't believe my eyes. This is absolutely beautiful. These are the backs. Look, it's just the ocean through and through. I know the paintings were done with water collected from the ocean. This is going to be a deck that now the caravan season has opened, I do want to take this to the caravan with me to work. I got back from the caravan yesterday. I did take some other ocean decks with me. This is going to be coming on the next visit to the van. And you can see it's all oceanic, ocean creatures. It is absolutely gorgeous. The cardstock is a rose petal, but it doesn't stick. What is it about rose petal? I actually adore the feel of rose petal, but with some of my decks, like the Lilifer, for instance, I can't stand the rose petal on that. I can't work with the deck. It sticks. Whereas this doesn't. It lets me shuffle and it's fine. I don't know what it is about rose petal. It is just glorious. Look at it. Oh, it's got the best Queen of Wands or Queen of Fire in this deck. It's got the best Queen of Wands card ever. This I adore. I can remember when I saw this deck, I think it was on Kickstarter. When I saw this card, I thought I need to get that deck. I wanted to move heaven and earth to get it, but there was just no way I could do it. So whenever I see that card now, I just think I just can't believe it. So yeah, this was one in that magnificent gift box from Shannon, the Healing Waves Tarot. So special, so unexpected to own, so fantastic, and yet still it didn't make it into my 10. You can see why I had to do another video. I just couldn't bring myself to put decks this special away without sharing them, and it is just really lovely to sit here and flick through decks like this. Oh my gosh, it's wonderful. Another deck I bought after I had the most incredible tarot reading by my friend Jen, also known here on YouTube as Hen. Now, Hen hasn't made videos for a while. I know she's been super busy. When she did a Zoom tarot reading for me, she felt really called to use this deck, which I hadn't seen at the time. This was quite early on in my tarot journey. And when she pulled the cards, oh my gosh, it was amazing, because some of these cards were actually almost carbon copies of photographs that I owned of me and the person that I'd asked the question about. So I asked for a reading about why I'd been triggered into some of my really unhealthy habits after the breakup with this particular person. What was the hold? What was the cause? How could I release myself from it? One of the cards that came up was this one. The fact that there is the devil eating a candy coloured haired woman's head, and implanting like repetitive thoughts. For me, that, oh my gosh, that card spoke volumes. You can see there are different styles in this deck. You've got the aces, which are all in black and white. You've got the majors, which are all of these sort of oil paintings. The sun card is my all-time favourite sun card ever. I just love it. And then this card. This is the card that actually mirrors a photograph of me and the person, and oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it when I showed Hen the photograph that this card was like a carbon copy of. She couldn't believe her eyes either. Of course, having had a experience like that, I just had to get the deck myself. Now you can see the minors are a slightly different style again. It's got a lot more of a sketchy vibe compared to like the finished paintings of the majors, but I really love that about this. So you've got a few different styles, black and white in the aces. You've got this kind of much quicker style of art in the minors, and then you have this sort of really detailed finished painting style of the majors or the quartz, which I love. I love those different styles throughout. I just love it. So this at the minute, I've been using this for daily draws on my altar and just getting to know it. I haven't used it as much as I thought I would, and it's one of those decks that I realised when I did my barely used Wise for my deck collection videos. I realised this feels so special to me. I've been saving it for best. It was one of those decks that landed in that category, the saving for best category, which I do with some of my indie decks. A lot of them are unused. In fact, my birthday present and my Christmas present for last year, which are indie decks, because that's what I do. I buy an indie deck for my birthday, I buy an indie deck for Christmas, as a constant reminder to myself that I am worth it. Those I haven't even opened yet, can you believe it? And I haven't opened them. I think my no buy year kind of got me out of the habit of opening anything new. So yeah, saving for best, and like really feeling reverence stops me using them is something that my no buy year didn't help me with when it comes to indie decks or decks that cost me more money, and this does fall into that category. It is something that I think March did bring a change in. I opened up some decks with my bag of shame and took those to the caravan with me, and it was just so exciting to open something new finally. I came home and I started working with this for daily draws again, and I am looking now at my birthday and Christmas present decks, which I haven't opened, and I think I might share those two new decks and show you what I got, but not in this video. That's going to be another video. So it's unusual for my channel to be inundated with indie decks, it really is, but there you go, that's where we're at the moment. So this deck really special to me for reasons of quite magical reasons, really, of tarot readings mirroring photographs. The Pholarcos Tarot, another firestorm of a deck. Okay, I'm going to share two decks now that came to me via being on Lisa Pepez's Say Yes to the deck. Now, I actually have an indie deck which I bought from that Say Yes to the deck. So actually there's three decks I'm going to share. But when I gave Lisa my list of decks that I wanted to talk about, list of decks that I was considering, she said initially, oh no, take that deck off because you know we're running short of time and there might be other reasons that I don't really want to talk about that deck, so could you take it from 5 decks down to 4 decks and just talk about that? So I wondered what was going on, and I didn't quite want to push the point. So one of my decks on Say Yes to the deck, I took off my list, only to have Lisa then send it to me in this absolutely glorious Peggy bag, which I love. And that's this one, the Tarot of Transformation. And she didn't want me to talk about it because she knew that she wasn't really connecting with this deck, and she knew that she wanted to send it to me. So I realised after the fact why she'd said, no, let's not talk about that one. It's because she knew she was going to be gifting it to me. So this came from Lisa, and oh my gosh, I love it. I mean, the cardstock is paper thin. It's very similar to the cardstock of the Inner Child cards, the Fairy Tale Tarot. It is like paper, and I know that that puts a lot of people off, especially if you've paid quite a big price for it. But I love it because it shuffles so beautifully with the paper thin cardstock. I love it for that. And I do love this deck. I have used it for journaling. I've done art journaling around this deck as well, and it is just wonderful. Yeah, I love it. It is everything I wanted it to be. Completely goes its own way. It is one that I'm still heavily reliant on the guidebook for, which again is another reason why it might not be for you. But I am more than happy to work with the guidebook for this. I am more than happy to have the guidebook out in front of me when I am working out messages or art journaling with it. And it is what it says on the tin. It can guide you through transformative journeys of healing. I love it. I think it is an important deck in my practice. It's not one that I've worked with as much as I would like. I think it needs to come out again this year. I would love to get to a point with this deck where I can work with it without the guidebook, where it is properly in my mind, the meanings. But it's tough to do, and I think that's one of the reasons why Lisa didn't connect with it, if I'm remembering correctly. It is a system. It's a bit like the Dreams of Gaia. It's a system that takes time and work. So yeah, I think you have to really be either prepared to work with the guidebook or to spend quite a bit of time with it. And I think for that you have to be totally in love with it, which I am. This artwork, oh my gosh, I love it so much. I just love it. So this is the Tarot of Transformation, gifted from Lisa. After I raised the fact that I wanted to talk about it on Say Yes to the Deck, it came my way anyway, which is just such a delight. So Lisa, I love it. You know I love it. It's got a really special place in my collection, and yeah, it's just wonderful. So I said I was going to talk about two decks. Top Box Rage, hang on, give me a second. I said I was going to talk about two decks that came about from being on Lisa's Say Yes to the Deck. The other one was another deck that I had lusted after for such a long time. I'd then seen it again on Lisa's channel, where she showed the cards and she read the poem that goes along with these cards, and it made me cry. It was just so wondrous. And this is the Stolen Child Tarot by Monica L. Knighton. Now, this was another one that I spoke about on Say Yes to the Deck, and it ended up like being discounted just because of the cost, and the cost to import it. I think it was the cost. I might be making it up. Or it might be that it took some work and I'd got other decks that I was still studying. It could have been for one of those reasons. Anyway, for whatever reason, this one got taken out of the running, and I was really sad. This was one of the ones that was right near the top. It's this fantastic linen cardstock. I don't know if you can see that. It's my favourite all-time cardstock. And then a short while after, one of you gorgeous lot contacted me and said that you'd had this deck on your shelf for quite a while now and never felt called to work with it. And you'd seen me on Say Yes to the Deck, and you weren't connecting with the deck. It wasn't for you. And could you possibly post it to me? Oh my gosh. So this is another gift. This is why I've got so many indie decks, even though I don't tend to buy them apart from birthday and Christmas. It's because of the generosity of you guys. So you can see my indie deck collection is kind of a journey from a lifetime of abuse around gift giving to this kind of liberation into this world of glorious gifts being sent to me. And it means the world. I literally couldn't put into words what that means to me, and the healing nature of what the last few years with your generosity heaped on me has felt like. She says, trying not to cry yet again. So this one is one I love. Oh my gosh, I want to get the guidebook printed out. At the moment the guidebook is on my phone. I think there is a way where you can pay for the guidebook to be printed out, which I do want to do, because I think it is one that does warrant working with the guidebook closely, at least to start with. But I love it, this idea of sort of mini worlds with these children in there. It feels like a deck of imagination as well to me, and of child's play. And I love it. I really love it. It's very watery as well. It is another deck that I think needs to come to the caravan with me when I'm working with decks up there, which I do an awful lot. I use tarot ever such a lot when I'm at the van, because I get like this quiet time there when I'm up there a lot of the time. So yeah, for caravan study, this is definitely it, and I love it. So this is the Stolen Child Tarot, which is just sublime. The deck that I actually ended up buying when I was on Say Yes to the Deck is actually an Oracle deck created by Sam Sawyer. Now this is available on their Etsy shop. This was decided upon because it is easy to work with straight out of the box. Everything you need is on the card or in the little book. It's got poetry linked to it as well, which I love. It's got some astrology, which I think this deck needs to come out for my deck and walk. Again, I haven't used this deck as much as I thought I would, and I actually went for the Rainbow edition, which I wonder now whether I shouldn't have gone for the other edition. But I still love it. I think it is stunningly beautiful. I don't think it's really found yet a solid footing in my tarot practice, but the deck and walk is absolutely firing up my interest in sort of sun signs, astrology, decans, planetary links, and I think this deck, because of that, might find its way in and find a way to be used a little more consistently. I think I was very much seduced by the look of it and how pretty it is and the fact it shines and shimmers, and yet it is more than that. But I think you need some astrology knowledge, like Aries. Now I've done 2 of the decans walking through Aries. It has more associations now for me to work with. So I think give me a year of decan walking and reading around tarot and astrology, and this will finally become more than just a shiny shimmery deck and find a way a little bit more solidly in my practice, because I do still really love it. So that's the Primrose and Prose Oracle deck by Samantha Sawyer. Okay, I think I am going to share I'm going to share 2 more, and then I might even have a 3rd video to share after this, because I've still got indie decks out. So I am going to go for one that I bought quite early on in my tarot journey. I saw Theia share this, and there is now a new version in like a linen-y cardstock without the borders, and it looks amazing. And I think it's a print on demand deck now, whereas when I bought this was direct from the Kawaii, oh my gosh, I cannot say that, directly from their website. So I think this is a whole new beastie now if you order this now. It does come with the fantastic magical course that you can buy all the different books for. It's in 3 sections: the apprentice, the adept, and I can't think what the other one is. That's funny because I think Theia blanked on one as well. The course is massive. Just one level of the course I think would take you years, let alone all 3 levels. It is really a lifetime study, the course, and it's spectacular. Of course, it's got the work of Josephine McCarthy in. Yeah, so this deck, the different coloured borders cover like different realms. So you've got the realms of the gods and you've got the realm of the mortals. And it is just a system all in its own right, although it can be used as an oracle deck as well. I have done some pretty interesting readings with this deck. It is quite special. It is one again that does require work. In fact, yeah, it was this deck that I was working with when I was on Say Yes to the Deck, which pushed other new systems out of the running, because I still had to get to grips with this. I still have to get to grips with this as well. But I love it. I love the artwork. I love the feathered cards as well. These are the backs. Look at the backs, really intense. And it's fabulous. It is an unusual, magical, magic-filled deck. I love all these winged figures, look. And the cards like this, oh gosh, the artwork. I mean, the artwork spoke volumes to me. It really did. I mean, look at this with all the feathers. At the time I was drawing feathers on repeat for Morrigan artwork, so when I saw this artwork I really sat up and took note. It was the artwork that pulled me in first, followed then by the fascination of the course and the knowledge held within it, and the ideas of the realms. I mean, look, you can see here is some of that feathered winged artwork that, as somebody that works with the Morrigan, it just had to come to me just for the feathers. I thought there would be a message in there just from that. Yeah, and I love it. I love all my decks. I say I love it so much on this channel. You must get so sick of hearing me say that, but isn't that how it should be? We should love our decks, and yeah, I do. I love it. And then the last one that I'm sharing with you in this video, I think I've shared about 10 again, haven't I? There is definitely at least another video that I could do. Is this one then? This also was gifted to me from one of you gorgeous lot. I paid for the shipping because the shipping was a lot, but they saw my work with Mother Mary, my experiences at Glastonbury and the Chalicewell Gardens, and they wanted to gift me this. So this is the Black Madonna tarot, and it is really special. I worked with this a lot in December last year during the Christmas period, and it was so wonderful to work with, and just so profound and just really, really beautiful to look at as well. I mean, look at these cards. This feels like a warm hug as well. In fact, Mother Mary energy to me, it does feel like being pulled into a lap of a mother and being like engulfed in arms and cuddles, which is something I give to my kids, but something that was lacking for me personally. So this does fill a void, and all of my Mother Mary practice does fill a void of something that I felt like I missed out on. The experience in the Chalicewell Gardens when I was walking the water, it was a similar energy that I felt oozing up through the ground of the gardens that saw me just come to a grinding halt with my feet in the water, surrounded by people on a hot sunny day, and bursting into tears. My friend with me was just like so shocked that I was crying. She stepped straight into the water in her lovely trousers and got her trousers soaked, just to give me a hug, and I couldn't quite explain the feeling that I'd felt coming up through the ground at me, apart from the fact that I knew it was linked to Mother Mary. And then of course I walked into the Chalicewell shops, and the first display on greeting me was a display of journals and decks to do with Mother Mary, and it was just all so overwhelmingly powerful and so comforting, and it's so warm. It was wonderful. So then to end up with this deck, which is a expensive deck, but the work in it, oh my gosh, the work to produce something like this and these images, and the work in the guidebook. The guidebook is so jam-packed full. It is definitely another deck where you have to unapologetically work with the guidebook, and it takes the time. Like, to do a reading with this deck takes time, because you do have to read. Well, I have to read the guidebook and sit with it for a while. So it's not just a chuck the cards out, grab the meaning and walk away deck for me. It isn't. Although there is enough in these cards, I think, where you could read it intuitively and just use your tarot meaning and then pick out aspects of these cards. It's definitely a deck where the possibility for that is there. But for me, it's the messages behind the shrines and the work in the guidebook. This is one of my favourite cards in the deck. But it is just so special, and it is such a special gift to receive that, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful for. And yeah, it is another one of those hug decks for me. And you can see again with this deck why I found the 10 indie deck so difficult to do, much harder than the 10 mass market decks. I think it possibly because the gifted energy in these decks, because a lot of these decks have been gifted to me, it just felt so wrong not to include them when they are all of equal importance to me. So yeah, this is another one that is, oh my gosh, wonderful. So I'm going to leave it there for this video, guys, because the last video I just struggled so much to get it to upload, so I don't want this to be massively long again. Yeah, there are at least another 10. I wonder if you want to see another video with another 10 indie decks in. I'm loving it. It's been so fun to play with these decks. So thanks guys so much for watching. Thank you Theia and Meg for setting me down this indie route. It's been so fun. I think I will have to do another one at least, as well as opening my birthday and Christmas present at least. So thanks guys, and thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.